Ever tried reading an article only to hit a paywall? You know that annoying pop-up asking you to pay up just to read that one tiny little piece? It happens to me whenever I try to get on popular news sites like the New Yorker, the Washington Post, but thankfully I know exactly what to do to get past them, and I'm sharing it here with you. Look, I get it. Quality journalism needs funding. But when you just need to read that one article, the sign-up fee really isn't worth it a lot of the times. Now, I've spent way too much time figuring out how to get around these things, and I'm going to share the most effective methods I found here in this video. I'm going to start with the easiest methods, and then we'll work our way up to the advanced techniques. And trust me, some of these are absolute game changers that most people don't even know about. So let's get started. When you hit a paywall, it's going to be one of three types: a soft paywall, a hard paywall, or a dynamic paywall. Each type of these work a little bit differently, and that means the way to bypass them is different too. And in this video, I'll show you a step-by-step method to break down each type. Let's start with soft paywalls. These are the most common and easiest to bypass. You get a few free articles before hitting that subscribe now message, like the New York Times and the Washington Post use these systems. For these soft paywalls, our first solution is just to turn off JavaScript completely. This is probably the most straightforward fix if all you need is to read basically one article. JavaScript is what makes websites interactive, and it's also what loads those pesky paywalls. In Chrome or Safari, just head to Settings, then Privacy and Security, and look for JavaScript controls. You can turn it off for specific sites, or if you want, the entire internet. For Firefox users, type about:config in your address bar, search for JavaScript enabled, and double-click to toggle it off. Now, don't worry too much about breaking your browsing experience. If you're just using this for reading articles, the worst that happens is that the page looks a bit plain. The text will still be there, and that is really what matters in this instance, right? Clearing your cookies might also work to get rid of soft paywalls. If you've read, let's say, 3 of 3 free articles this month, you can clear your cookies to make the site actually think you're a new visitor and start your counter from 0. Another easy fix for soft paywalls is using an ad blocker like uBlock Origin. Install it, enable all filters, and you're basically good to go. But beware, some sites have caught onto this and, well, they've done their counter, their own coding counter basically, to make sure the paywall stands strong. But it still works more often than you would expect. I've put CloudWords' article ranking the top ad blockers in the description below, so you can check it out as well. Then we have the dynamic paywalls used by sites like Medium and Bloomberg. They actually watch what you're doing on the site. They track your clicks, your reading time, everything. And then bam, they decide whether to show you that subscription prompt. Now, for dynamic walls, web crawlers are your best bet. I'm talking about tools that scan and index web content automatically. This actually works on hard paywalls too, but more on those later. Basically, a bunch of apps out there like translation services and summary tools, they get special access to paywalled content, and I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Let me show you how this works. Say you've got an article you can't access. Instead of hitting that paywall directly, you can use apps like smrw.ai. Not really sure how to pronounce this, so sorry about that. Or really any similar service that lets you paste in a URL and the website actually thinks it's talking to a web crawler instead of you, a human. It's pretty straightforward. Just head to one of these services, paste your URL, and the content just appears. No subscription needed. I will say you're only getting the hard text. So things like images and embed videos, well, they're all gone. But if you don't care about the user interface and just want the words on your screen, you're basically good to go. Now let's talk about hard paywall. Sites like the Wall Street Journal and Financial Times use this system. These are trickier because they block content right from the start. For these, we need some more advanced techniques. The Google bot method is particularly effective here. Okay, So websites have to let search engines see their content, right? Because they want to rank highly in Google. If they don't, they will never show up and therefore they won't get any eyeballs on their content. Well, we can actually trick websites into thinking we're Google. How smart does that sound? It's like you put on a disguise to get into somewhere. We're basically doing that with your browser. So here's what you've got to do. In Chrome, right-click basically anywhere, click Inspect, then hit those three dots up top, click More Tools, and find Network Conditions. From there, you've just got to hit the drop-down menu to change the user agent to Google Bot. Now, if you're using Firefox, it works a bit differently. Type about:config in your address bar and you'll get this warning, but don't worry about it, just click continue. Then in that search box that pops up, type general.useragent.override. Select string, click the plus sign, and boom, just paste in Googlebot 2.1 as your user agent. I know that might sound like a lot of steps, but trust me, once you do it once or twice, it becomes really second nature, and I do this quite a lot. Now, for the really stubborn paywall, you can actually remove the paywall code directly from the page. Right-click anywhere on that paywall message and select Inspect. Now you're looking at the website's code. For anything labeled paywall or subscribe, basically, you see that is the part of the code that you really want to eliminate. And when you find it, just hit delete on your keyboard. If you can't find it, mousing over the relevant code might highlight the paywall on screen, so you know how they named the HTML markers in the code, which you can then safely delete. You're not changing anything on their side. Obviously, this is not possible, so don't be afraid to break anything. You just delete what you're seeing in the browser and hopefully then unblock these paywalls. Keep in mind though, sometimes this can break the page or forcing you to reload it. Now, there are some solutions that work across all paywall types, like the Facebook redirect method. A lot of news sites have special deals with Facebook. So if a site thinks you're coming from Facebook, they'll actually let you read the article. All you need to do is open the paywall page and paste this snippet before the URL. Of course, if it's a site that doesn't have an agreement with Facebook, it won't work. Just use one of the other methods instead. VPNs are another powerful tool, particularly for geographical restrictions and resetting article view counts. If you've spent any time on YouTube though, you've probably heard enough about VPNs to last a lifetime, so I'll just drop a link to my personal favorite in the description box below and keep on moving, or you can read our best VPN article on cloudwords.net, which I'll also link in the description box below, where we test and scan for the best VPNs out there. For academic paywall specifically, here's a pro tip. There are several websites dedicated to providing free access to scholarly works and research papers. The two best ones are called Unpaywall and Open Access Button. So if you're struggling with an academic paywall specifically, you can give those a try as well. Another method to get past any paywall is finding an anti-paywall browser extension. They can be effective, but I need to warn you about something first. These extensions exist in this weird legal space. Take popular ones like 12 Feet Ladder or Bypass Paywalls. They keep getting removed from web stores because of copyright issues. And that's where things get tricky, as they're not always the easiest to find. Bypass Paywalls Clean is probably your best bet, even though it's been taken down from Mozilla and Chrome, but you can still find them on GitHub though. Some extensions come with potential risks. For example, recently there was a hacking incident involving Chrome extensions. Hackers successfully injected malicious code into legitimate extensions after gaining developer access. So be cautious when installing extensions. You just have less control, and always check for any unusual activity or excessive permissions they might request. Now, Tor browser is another method to get past paywalls. It completely changes how websites see you, essentially. Every time you click New Identity, you get a fresh start. No paywall will recognize you. But here's the thing about Tor. It can be risky on its own. Since anyone can run a Tor node, you might run into some sketchy operators. This means that while Tor gives you strong privacy, there's also risk, especially if the website visited does not use HTTPS encryption. Some of these operators could potentially intercept your data, especially at the exit node, the last node before the traffic reaches its destination. That's why I recommend pairing it with a VPN, and you'll find our complete ranking of the best ones again in the description box below. Before we wrap up this video, remember, I want to quickly reiterate that quality journalism needs funding to survive. But when you just need that one article, now you've got the complete toolkit, from advanced techniques to quick fixes, basically. Drop a comment telling me which method works best for you, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for more advanced tech tips like these. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.